Okay, joining us now, North Dakota Republican Senator John Hoeven. Mr. Senator, would your farmers in your state be satisfied with that kind of buyout, I guess you could call it?
Stuart, what we want is access to markets. So we want better trade agreements, whether it's China, Japan, the USMCA, we want to get that passed with Canada and Mexico. But in the meantime, while the Chinese are delaying these negotiations, we do need to provide our farmers with some help because they're on the front lines. They're being targeted by China.
Well, is this going to keep them in line? I mean, is this going to keep political solidarity behind the president in this fight with China?
You know, they've been hanging in there, recognizing the need to get China to trade on a fair basis, quit stealing our technology, infringing on our patents and copyrights. But it's tough on them, so they need some help. And I think this will really make a difference. Again, the solution is free and fair trade, but this will help them get through the negotiation.
Mr. Senator, we do hear some rumblings within the Republican Party that you better fix this China trade thing fast, otherwise you might see Republicans peeling off from the president. What do you say about that?
Well, no question, not just for our farmers, but our energy sector, all of the different sectors of our economy, manufacturing. We need to get these trade agreements in place. We need to get the House to take up the USMCA and pass it. The votes are there to pass it. We're ready to go in the Senate, but it's got to start in the House. We need to get to an agreement with China. We want to get an agreement with Japan. That is the solution. But in the meantime, we do have to help our farmers, particularly where they're on the front lines and they're being targeted by China while the negotiations going on.
Okay, now the state, I want to change subjects for a second, sir.
Sure.
The State Department's ordered all non-essential workers out of Iraq, our embassy in Baghdad, because of ongoing threats from Iran. We just heard something similar from our embassy in Beirut, Lebanon. It's very tense in the Mideast. Can you tell us what might be going on here? Is something
Sure.
up?
Well, we're putting real pressure now on Iran. Their only way to get income is to sell their oil. And we've shut that down with our sanctions, which is appropriate. We're putting real economic pressure on that regime, and we're trying to get a change in their behavior. They're the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. And so we're trying to effectuate the changes we need. And we have to continue to do that and be strong. And that's what they respect, is strength, and making sure those sanctions have an effect over time to keep them from their nuclear ambitions and to keep them from the kind of terrorism sponsorship that they've been undertaking.
Mr. Senator, is there any part of you which says, Mr. Trump, maybe you could back off a little on the China trade tariffs? Maybe you could back off a little with Iran? You're shaking your head. No backing off.
No, these are the right steps. Strength, and doing it, in terms of our military strength, but these economic sanctions, they will work. They are working over time. And that's how we get the change in behavior that we need to see from Iran.
Can you keep the Democrats on your side? Look, they've been unified in the China trade. I don't know whether they're unified on Iran, but are you going to keep them in the fold, unified behind the president and his foreign policy?
I believe so. Obviously not all of them, but I think when you look at the impact these sanctions are having and this consistent position of strength, not only Democrats, but I think increasingly our allies will recognize that dealing from a position of strength is the way to deal with Iran.
All right, Senator John Hoeven, Republican, North Dakota. Thanks for joining us, sir. Always appreciate it.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.